Hello and welcome to the Jet Report, coming to you live on a Wednesday afternoon. What is going on? I am Matt O'Leary, going to be hanging out with you for the next little bit here on the bye week. If you missed it, Just Jets dropped earlier today. We did like a State of the Union kind of a thing where this New York Jets football team is at the bye. We looked at the first half. We kind of came back then and looked and previewed the second half of the year, what the Jets have to do to make the playoffs, and all that fun stuff, really. And thank you so much for joining me today and coming to hang out. And what I wanted to get into today was I almost said Carl Lawson. I don't know why. Robert Saleh was on with Josina Anderson. And there's a little bit of he's on for a half hour, but I want to play one of his answers about Zach Wilson. It was one that really impressed me, I thought, anyway. So let's take a listen to Robert Saleh. First, I'll minimize this so we can make it full screen. Let's take a listen to Robert Saleh talking with Josina Anderson.
So what do you think about the game manager role, kind of, or the game manager label on Zach Wilson now relative to how he played against the Bills? And can you guys make it into the playoffs or make a playoff run with him playing beyond the game manager label?
I think I know I referenced it a few times, but when we've had to call his name and we needed to lean on his arm, he's done it. And we didn't need it against Miami. We didn't need it against Green Bay. We didn't need it against Denver. And the New England game, it was just mistakes. We didn't. It was things were going fine. And when you look at the Buffalo game, he converted 2 third downs with his feet. Got that big third down the Mims to extend the clock. He made timely plays. Buffalo just is one of the top defenses in football, and thought he played really well. And but at the end of the day, we have all the confidence in the world in him that if we need him to go make plays, he'll go make plays. And so he's going to continue to get better. People forget he's playing behind an O-line that's kind of had some shuffling, and they're doing a great job. They had a really nice game against Buffalo, and he's playing with a bunch of young receivers too, and a whole new set of players, and they're all growing together. That's why I think it's really cool what we're seeing with our offense. And as the season goes and the games get bigger, I think he's going to continue to find himself. He's going to find ways to get better, and he's not even close to where we think he's going to go. But I've said it before. You'd be remiss not to acknowledge the fact that he's light years ahead of where he was a year ago, and he's going to continue to find ways to get better. And I think when we're looking at him this time next year, for example, he's going to be light years ahead even next year. But so he's got a great mindset to him. He's going to continue to find ways to get better, and I think that as the games get bigger, I think he'll get bigger too.
I like that answer. I like that answer a lot from our guy Robert Saleh, defending his quarterback. And I just want to give you my take on it. Obviously, we talked a lot about Zach Wilson last week as he was coming off a brutal performance against the New England Patriots. One that was an unacceptable performance against the New England Patriots, turning the ball over 3 times the way that he did and making silly, boneheaded mistakes. I thought he was past that, but how he responded in this game against the Buffalo Bills, I think, has to give you some hope. Was it one that you're going to go back to 3 years from now and say, oh my God, I can't believe this is what Zach Wilson did against the Buffalo Bills? It was amazing. No, it wasn't like that. But fundamentally, he looked completely different this past week against Buffalo. He was much more confident throwing the football. He wasn't second guessing himself. He was making reads and sticking to his first and second read and not holding onto the ball, not drifting backwards and trying to extend plays and taking these massive sacks or throwing the ball up for grabs. The one time where he did throw the ball away out of bounds, he got it way out of bounds. He escaped, ran away, threw it out of bounds. And Robert Saleh said it himself. There were times in this game where he was able to run and extend plays with his feet. Thank you, Lord. That's what we've been asking for Zach Wilson now. There's no reason why he can't run 4, 5, 6 times a game, something like that, and extend plays with his legs. Obviously, he has to get better. After the bye week, there's 8 more games, and he has to show improvement over those final 8 games. And I think that he will. I'm confident in Zach Wilson. I was very pleased with the response after a gut punch of a performance the previous week, and he was coming off some defenses and some games where he really did not play well. Against Green Bay, didn't look great. Against Denver, struggled, and then really looked bad against New England. And against the Buffalo Bills, who are arguably the best defense in the league, he was steady. He was solid. He completed 72% of his passes, yards per attempt a little bit over 6, threw for a touchdown, no interceptions. He was one of 2 quarterbacks not to get picked off by that Buffalo defense who creates so many turnovers. And I was pleasantly surprised. Now it's all about him taking that next step. As Saleh says, not close to a finished product, right? Like if you are saying that you're good with this version of Zach Wilson forever, that's not what anyone's saying, I don't think. But when you're talking about a young quarterback learning what he has to do, this is a big step. He was not a game manager against the New England Patriots. He was throwing the ball all over the place recklessly. He was not a game manager really at any point last year either. He was not effective enough, but he's done a really good job for the most part of protecting the football this year. And he has 7 career picks against the New England Patriots. The Pats have his number right now, and it'll be a huge test for him next week. Next week is going to be a massive test to see really how much has this young quarterback improved, and what we saw this past week against Buffalo, is that real or not? Because New England has made him look silly twice. 4 interceptions the first time, 3 interceptions the second time, and now it's a pretty quick turnaround. Yes, there's a bye week in between, but you get Buffalo where you looked better, you get a bye, and then you get your crack at New England on the road in New England. So we'll see what this kid has. And I love the answer from Robert Saleh. And that's what I wanted to start today's show with, by one, just playing the clip. And I, urge you to go and listen to their full conversation. But also at the same time, too, just talking about the growth of the young team and the young quarterback. It's a huge storyline this year. Most people were saying, this year's all about evaluating the young quarterback. I was, someone saying that too, because I did not anticipate them to be 6-3 at the bye week, which is great. And we have a whole lot of positive coverage right now, up from myself, going forward. When I talked about the state of the Jets in Just Jets earlier today, it was a big conversation about just where this team is, how they exceeded my expectations, and why they exceeded my expectations. But still, even though, yes, this team now has expectations to make the playoffs, I don't think it's unrealistic to say go at a minimum 4-4 over your last 8 games and get yourself into a playoff spot. It's still, you also have to see what you have out of Zach Wilson. And there's 8 more opportunities to do that. He's played 6 games so far this year. He's 5-1. In the loss, he looked really bad. In his wins, for the most part, he's been okay. We're still waiting for that really big Zach Wilson game. Probably wasn't coming against New England. It probably isn't going to come against New England a week from now. It wasn't coming against Denver or Green Bay's defense or Buffalo's defense. And you have Buffalo again, but there are other teams here on this New York Jets schedule where there's a defense that they've let up some points. And we could pull that up now, actually. Why don't we do that? And then I'll open it up to the questions in the comments. But here's the team DVOA ratings. So Dallas is number 1. Denver is 2. Buffalo, New England. So those are 3 teams who the Jets just recently played in the top 5. But if you scroll down here, Chicago is second to last. Miami is 27. Detroit's 26. Jacksonville's 22. Minnesota's 19. That's 1, 2, 3. 4 games left? Sorry, I lost count already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the remaining 8 games are against teams who are in the bottom half of the league in defensive DVOA. That is your opportunity to really make an improvement and really see what you got at the quarterback position. I'm excited to see it. Hope you guys are too. So let's open it up. Let's get into the comments. Bring it right up. Brian will get us started today and says, well, since there's not much to do over the bye week, will we finally see our first Matt O'Leary mock draft? No, I am happy to say that this is the least I've known about the NFL draft since I started doing this damn thing so many years ago. I'm going to hold off on that. I know that I just found out yesterday the Jets are picking 26th. I had no idea until I think it was Will Parkinson tweeted it out. And then we were talking on the Talking Jets panel yesterday, and someone else said it in the comments. And all three of us, myself, Ryan, and Greenbean, we were saying we have no idea about the NFL draft right now. And that's a good thing. That's how I want to keep it. JK says, is the Pats game a must win at this point? Need to send a message to that team, but more importantly, division wins to win the division, make the playoffs. I don't know if I want to stamp that must win on it, but I really want that one badly. Like if they lose that game, the season is, I don't think the season's over, but winning that game is a massive, massive statement because one, they made you look bad, or they made the young quarterback look bad a couple of weeks ago. And they've had our number forever, right? They had the Jets number forever. So I really want that one. Going up there to New England and winning that game would be absolutely massive. So I don't know if I would classify it as a must win, but that would also be added to the list as a statement win. Joe Campione says they could win a Super Bowl with a game manager as quarterback. Zach can be that guy. I look, if he plays where he's not turning the football over like he did against the Buffalo Bills, the Jets are going to win a lot of games because of how good that defense is. Now, I really think for them to take that next step into being a true contender, I think he has to continue to improve and take that next step into his development. But the rest of this team, whether it be the offensive line, the tight ends, wide receivers, or running backs, they can do it. And that defense is beyond legit. They've exceeded my wildest expectations. Sauce Gardner's been fantastic. DJ Reed's been a great addition. Defensive line is just straight up nasty. They can win a lot of football games, but if he takes that next step, they'll be really good. Larry James says Rams formula of a game manager, quarterback, elite wide receiver, and elite defense can win a Super Bowl. Jets have a chance with Sauce Garrett and Zach. I wouldn't say Matt Stafford is a game manager. Now, Jared Goff, when they got there and lost, I think you could say was game manager levels, but Stafford made a ton of big plays for them last year. And obviously he struggled this year, as have, the rest of the Rams, but the Jets defense is going to win them a lot of games. Liam Griffith, what's up, man? Says having more in the slot should make us dynamic at tight end, slot, and the X. Yeah, I'm excited to see more Elijah Moore in the slot. And I think that's something else that Robert Saleh was talking about in that interview with Josina Anderson, was kind of just getting into moving Elijah into the slot. Excuse me, is another thing that they're looking to do. And I think that it makes a ton of sense for them to do that. Jet Life says Pats try their best to stop the Pats are gonna try to try their best to stop the run and put it on Zach Wilson. Yeah, but I think the Buffalo Bills tried to do that same thing. They loaded the box and Zach Wilson made quick reads and quick decisions. They did a lot of quick RPO stuff. And it wasn't as long developing plays like they did against New England. It was quick, get the ball out of his hands quickly, screens, and chip your way down the field. And I think that's the way you beat them. Stud City asked, did Quan Alexander play limited snaps last Sunday? Yeah, he didn't really play a whole lot. I'll let you know the exact number right now for the linebackers. Give me 1 second. It was Quincy Williams played 74%, and Quan Alexander played 37%. That was his lowest since week 6, where Quan Alexander played 27%. But yes, 37% is pretty low for Quan Alexander. The 2 weeks before that, 42 and 65%. Robert is here hanging out with us. What's up, man? Hey, Matt, the Jets really put a beat down on Josh Allen. He had it coming to him for all the running he does, and the D isn't allowed to hit him. Mac and cheese is next. I hope. Go Jets. Yeah, and at least what I would say, the embarrassing thing about that Jets-Patriots game, and I'll pull up the box score from it. we could take a look on that Jets box score against the New England Patriots. Mac Jones ran the ball 7 times for 19 yards, and that's just a 2.7 yards per attempt. But there were times where, like, you can't let Mac Jones escape the pocket and pick up first downs. You can't let that happen. All right. It's not Justin Fields. It's not Lamar Jackson. It's not Deshaun Watson. It's Mac freaking Jones. You can't be doing that. It's not Josh Allen. They did a good job of getting after him and hitting him. I think that's the recipe this week. Jay Spector says Zach needs to get other playmakers involved. Our offense is loaded and we should be putting up 30 points per game. I think eventually when I went over the defenses with you guys, I think we there's a chance we could see that eventually. He was going with early reads. There was not a single time last week where Elijah Moore was the first read. Good question here from Dan. What kind of stats are you expecting from Zach Wilson after the bye? I think he'll be steady. Obviously, he just threw the ball 25 times. But I think somewhere around 30 passing attempts per game, somewhere in that 200 to 240 yards per game on average. I think there's absolutely opportunities for him to really ball out and put up some pretty big numbers. But I think if, like, at the end of the day, over the final 8 games, he's averaging, we'll call it 230 yards, has, a 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, I think that would be pretty promising. And I know you guys hate doing this. I'm going to do it, though, because it's something that he said himself, which was Josh Allen. When Josh Allen compared himself to Zach Wilson as a second-year player, when he had a really bad game against the New England Patriots, way back here, he was picked off 3 times by the New England Patriots. He threw for 153 yards, picked off 3 times, but after that was really good. He played 12 games and threw just 3 picks over his last 12 games to 17 passing touchdowns. He really turned his season around at that point. Yards per attempt is still kind of on the low side at 6.62. Zach Wilson's has been a little bit higher. And there were, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times where he had multiple passing touchdowns. So there's 8 games left for the New York Jets. So can Zach Wilson throw 12 to 14 touchdown passes and maybe 4 more interceptions, which would put him at what? How many? Let's see. What is Zach Wilson's numbers right now? Zach Wilson is currently at 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So let's say 14 more and 4 more interceptions. So that would put him at 18 touchdowns, 9 interceptions in 14 games. I think that's a step up. A Jake Asman fan says if Zach can have an average of 220 passing yards the rest of the season, I think we can win 5 of 8 and go into the playoffs ready to go. Yeah, I think that's not asking a lot. That's kind of just right where I was with, around 220, 230. There's going to be opportunities for him to throw the ball a little bit more. Currently, through 6 starts, he's averaging 203 yards per game. In his first 2, he had 252 and 210. And then went 110, 121, 355, but 3 picks in a loss. And then back down to 154. But overall, some promising signs. His yards per attempt is up. His yards per game is up. His rating's up from last year. It just has to continue to trend in that direction and go up even more so. Wild Wave, do you believe in the coin flip theory? No, it ends this week. Alex T says you should make a video about how Brady Quinn is a clown. Yeah, I mean, I did that when he first made his big ol' predictions, and I've called them out on social media. Did social media videos of it, so I'm all about done with Brady Quinn right now. Merc Life, who is a member of the channel, which, by the way, I should put the banner up there and let people know. Zach is going to turn it. Zach is going to turn it up just a bit after the bye. I think he stays relatively turnover free and can add some touchdowns. I don't think the numbers will be insane, but noticeable improvement. Yep, that's kind of where I'm at as well. That's exactly what I think is going to happen here. Nick says, I need a Jets Titans wildcard game so I can go. Yes, that would be phenomenal so that you can get in the building. And also, don't want to get ahead of myself too much here. I think the Jets could beat the Titans in a playoff game. I really do. And I know just getting to the playoffs, and if they were to get knocked out in a wild card game, that would still be an improvement for this New York Jets team and a really solid season. But I think the Jets can hang with the team like Tennessee because of the amount of pressure that they get and how much they've improved stopping the run. Jets Best says Niners got to the Super Bowl with Jimmy G playing below average. That's true. Jason Ratcliffe says this is the Jets revenge game. Jets to win and no running it up, going quiet, get the win. Raw Power says, I think the Zach to Mims connection will continue to grow. I think we were too small with more on the outside. I agree. That was one of the reasons why I didn't like more on the outside. That's at 5'9", it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I'm not saying don't ever have him out there. But more often than not, he's got to be in the slot. He has to be in the slot. And Denzel, he's earned himself some more playing time. What he did in the run game blocking was nothing short of fantastic, and he came up with a massive catch, huge catch. Wild Wave says, thoughts on the Darrelle Rivas tweet, passing of the torch to Sauce. Things you absolutely love to see. If you missed it, I'll pull it up on the screen right now. Darrelle Rivas loved himself some Sauce Gardner. He tweets saying, future of erasing the number one receiver are in good hands. A great article about the next island of New York. I love it. He's going to be in the building for the Bears game as he is entered into the Ring of Honor. Steven says, no Jets game. Let's effing go Devils. And my Islanders beat the Rangers last night too, so I'm happy. But shout out to your Devils, man. They're playing significantly better than what I thought they would be this year. They look really good. Luis Sanchez says, I didn't notice the Patriots are on the bye this week too. Yep, both teams are on the bye at this point. So going to be a big game. Chris Simmons says, in sauce, we trust. John Finnegan talking about the Jets and the Titans says, any excuse for a weekend in Nashville? I'll take it. Yeah, I haven't gotten to that city yet, but I would like to get there. Merklife asks, what's the best realistic playoff matchup for the Jets round one? We talked about the Titans. Any others? I would like another shot at the Baltimore Ravens. I think with how this team is playing, I think they could hang with them. The week one Jets versus this version of the Jets is very, very different. With how this defense is playing, I think they could hang with anyone. The Bills at full power and the Chiefs at full power are extremely, extremely tough. But when you look around some of the other divisions, the Titans and the Ravens, I think the Jets would have a pretty good shot at the wild card spot. Barney Miller, I like this one a lot, says Zach's best play against the Bills, that last play where he took the sack, take the 3, let the D win it. Perfect. Yep. Didn't try to force anything, didn't try to get greedy. That made me happy. That showed signs of growth. I thought he was very mature in this game. So hopefully that continues to improve. John Fister says, for all the hiccups our offense has had, first time in forever that we have trunk plays every single week. I see that continuing and going up 100%. I'm with you. There are some teams that really struggle on the defensive side of the football left on the Jets schedule, pretty much outside of the game against the Patriots and the Bills. There are very, defenses that you can put up some points against. So I'm happy with it. Dave says, have these Ring of Honor games have been bad luck? Hope we wear white jerseys, black pants. Yeah, they got to keep that riding. It was just that one. They've only done the one so far, right? Oh, no. Well, I guess the Bengals too, right? So, yeah. Well, they haven't played that great at home, so that's part of the reason too. But they got to keep riding this white on black look until it fails. Brian says, imagine a Jets-Giants Super Bowl taking place in Arizona. That would be insane. That would be wild. I think the city would go on fire. Could you imagine? No, I can't. I'm really too young to remember the 2000 Subway Series between the Mets and the Yankees. So I don't really remember what the city was like at the time, but a Jets-Giants Super Bowl would be insane. Ryan says, now that we are at the midway point, does the remainder of the year seem easier or harder than the first half? There are some teams in the second half of the year that are better than what I expected them to be. Minnesota is definitely better than what I thought they'd be. The Dolphins are better than I thought they'd be, even though I said I thought the Jets would split with the Dolphins. So they already got that one. So maybe that one doesn't count. The Seahawks are definitely better than what I thought they would be. Detroit, Jacksonville, Chicago are all around where I thought they would be this year. So those are, I would say, are winnable games. The Jets just have to find one more win on the road, and I think they could do that. VR Hidalgo's hanging with us. He says Zach bounced back, shows he learned from mistakes, which is encouraging. That is absolutely an encouraging sign. It has to continue. Can't stay stagnant. Has to take that next step. Raw Power doesn't like the black jerseys. He says burn the black jerseys. I like them. I think that, yes, obviously the performance in them wasn't good, but I think they look nice. John says it was laughable at the Miami game when they introduced the Jets legends and Isaiah Crowell and Sharon Peak walked out. No way. Did that really happen? That's nuts. Jets, that they'll call anybody a legend these days. Boycott Activision says, I think our starting 3 wide receivers should be Corey, Mims, Garrett until Elijah proves he's more beneficial as a starter. Okay. With Corey and Mims on the outside, Garrett in the slot, maybe we'll see more of that. Elijah, I think eventually they got to get involved, though. Like, you kept them around, so, I mean, eventually you got to do this thing. We are wearing all black against the Bears, I think. I don't remember. I know they're wearing it 2 more times. I don't remember which games, but it probably is against that. Brian says, no, that was a complaint. Oh, Super Bowl shouldn't be that far away from the fan bases. Okay, that's fair. Daniel says, Matt, Jets are a run first team. Why is the fan base preoccupied with Wilson putting up Tua/Mahomes stats? I don't know. I think they just want to see the big plays and see a couple of the games where he puts up some big numbers, but I think there will be opportunities for that in the second half of the year against teams like the Patriots and the Bills and the Denver Broncos. I never expected the Jets to the Jets to throw the ball a ton or for him to put up some monster numbers. Alex T says, I want to see the green jersey again. Yeah, if they wear the green with the white pants, I like that. You know how I feel about the green on green look. I hate that. Yakir asks, when is Max Mitchell coming back? I think after the bye. I think Max Mitchell and George Fant will be back after the bye week. Merck says, game I'm most looking forward to after the bye is Seattle. 2 teams exceeding expectations going at it. Yeah, that's true. And Jason follows that up with saying, I'm probably in the minority here, but I love seeing Geno play great. Full disclosure, I'm a native Mountaineer as well as a Jet fan. Okay, yeah, so that's the West Virginia and Jets love is going to make you love it. Yeah, good for Geno. He's playing really, really good football right now for the Seattle Seahawks. That's another team, as Merck said above that, I did not expect them to be as good as than what they are. Jefferson Johnson, 2 last names, says learning how to win is the hardest thing to do in the NFL. ZW is learning what it takes to win. This year, all he needs to do is how to manage the game. Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, they don't need this can't be Zach Wilson forever, but it's taking steps. You're taking gradual steps to getting to your finished product, and it is a step forward no matter how you want to slice it. Joe Campione says Jets corners take away Jefferson and the offense runs straight up and down the field. The Jets win 28-17. Wow. That would be a massive win. Here's one for you. That might be a game that the Jets get flexed into prime time on Sunday Night Football. The Jets getting flexed into Sunday night. What year is this? Akira says Braxton Berrios not getting enough targets. Nope. I think he is doing just fine with what he is. He's a special teams guy and good depth. You could have him in, every once in a while and get him the ball. But I have no issue with his target share. Chris Simmons says, you think Garrett can take a Chase Jefferson level jump? Yeah, he's on pace. He's going to put up probably over 900 yards this year in an offense that doesn't really pass a whole lot and that's had two different quarterbacks start games. He absolutely is someone who is talented enough so where he could be putting up 1,200 plus yard seasons. Bills lose and we will be atop of the East. That is true. You got to root for the Miami, Minnesota Vikings this week. Dave says green on green is the O'Leary trigger. It's true. I hate it. I hate the green on green look. I think it looks disgusting. Oreo says, since it's the bye, any plans for Sunday? Do you watch other teams? I didn't watch other teams play until I don't watch other teams play unless I'm with family. Dallas. Okay, there we go. I'm probably going to go out east on Long Island and like get away a little bit on Friday and Saturday, and then I might be like go out to a bar and watch some of the games on Sunday. But I'm not going to be as locked in. I'm kind of taking this as a little bit of a mental reset myself. But yeah, I mean, I do enjoy, like, I love watching Red Zone when the Jets aren't on. So I'm not going to be like locked into one game in particular, but I'll probably be out watching Red Zone or watching whatever they have on at a place. Joe says Allen threw a ball 72 yards after he hurt his elbow. That's amazing. He is an absolute freak. He is a freak athlete. It's unreal. What else we got? Vincenter says, why is the team so high on Jeff Smith? Also, let's go Isles, baby. Woohoo! Let's go, baby. Let's go. They like his special teams value. That's why he's around. I don't have any other answer other than that because it's he doesn't give you much in the receiving game. Akira says Jets rookie class this season will be better than 2000s. Hot take. That'd be really hard to do. The John Abraham, Sean Ellis, you had Chad Pennington, Anthony Beck, Lavernius Coles. That's a really nice draft class who was a part of this team. And I mean, you guys, you can't see it here, but hanging up, I got the Sean Ellis jersey. I love Sean Ellis. So I'd be thrilled if they surpass that. I don't think it's that crazy of a take, by the way. Oh, here you go. VR says, I watched Gino's show grow up at Marimar High. Absolutely a fan. Happy to see his progress and success. That's awesome. That's really cool. Real Power says, no flexing. Stay in the 1 p.m. slot. Also hope we're the underdog every week. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna agree with you on this. I love the Sunday at 1 o'clock games. I hate the waiting around till 4. The night games don't really do a whole lot for me, but I would love for them to stay in the 1 o'clock. I'm probably in the minority here with you, Raw Power. Kevin's here. He says BYU Jets fan. Go Jets. Yes. Thank you so much for coming along. We appreciate Zach Wilson. I'm still a believer anyway. Oh, Oreo says Uzama's been the biggest disappointment so far. I really thought he would be our Travis Kelce. Your expectations were way too high for CJ Uzama. He was going to come in here to block and be a good leader. They paid him a lot to do it, but I thought he would probably give you a little bit more in the receiving game, but I wouldn't put this as a disappointment. Scott V says Garrett will have over 1,000 this year. Look how Zach feeds him now. Yeah, maybe. I mean, he was pacing out. I should have said he was pacing out for 900. But the last few weeks, yeah, maybe he does go over that. Barney Miller says black pants, white shirts, black helmets. All right. VR says coincidence Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave doing so good in the league. Didn't they have a good wide receiver coach at Ohio State? Yeah, Ohio State's turning into wide receiver U. Feels that way. Merc Life says, give us the rest of the season predictions. Predict the wins and losses. All right. Yeah, let's do that. Why don't we do that? That might be how we close out today's show. And we'll go into some like final comments on what you guys think. So I'll pull up the Jets schedule. You guys can play along with me. By the way, I forgot who mentioned it earlier this week on the stream. I pre-recorded for either Friday or Saturday, the comparing the 2019 roster to the 2022 roster. So that'll be coming out. That's towards the weekend. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to minimize you, Merc, to go through. At New England, I'm going to say win at New England, win against Chicago, lose to Minnesota, lose to Buffalo. That's 2-2. Win against Detroit and Jacksonville. That's 4-2. Win against Seattle, lose to Miami. 5-3 for an 11-6 record and a 5 seed for the New York Jets. That is my prediction. So here are your remaining games one more time. At New England versus Chicago, at Minnesota, at Buffalo versus Detroit, versus Jacksonville, at Seattle, at Miami. And I say the Jets go 5-3, beating New England, Chicago, Detroit, Jacksonville, and Seattle along the way. We got a super chat here from AbLab. Says, how do you compare Zach and Justin? Who do you think has the higher ceiling? Well, Justin Fields has looked really, you have to give Justin Fields a ton of credit for how he's played the last few weeks. So pull up his numbers right now as you guys get in the comments. Here we go. The last couple of weeks have been really good for Fields. 3 passing touchdowns, another one on the ground, and 178 rushing yards. That's really impressive. He had 120 rating, 2 passing touchdowns, 73, 1 completion percentage. Really, the last 3 weeks, he's been really, really good. He ran for 82 yards. The week prior, the loss to Washington, he ran for 88. He's starting to find his groove. It depends on what you like at the position. I'm a Zach guy. That's who I liked coming out just by a nose. So I'm gonna stick there. But there's no question that right now Justin Fields has been playing better than Zach Wilson. Sincere Hurdle says we match up well versus the Vikings. That is definitely true. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they absolutely could beat the Vikings. Andrew says, I agree, except we lose to Seattle, beat Miami. Okay, so we're gonna sweep the Vikings. The Vikings on the brain. We'll sweep the Miami Dolphins. Okay. Jason says, if stay healthy, no reason can't go get the dub in Minnesota as well. Joe says, I think the Bills and Buffalo probably lost. Patriots second toughest game. Jets will physically abuse the other defenses. Okay, so maybe 6-2 for Joe. Should be 12-5. Oh my God, that's wild. Jason says, I'm not afraid of little Kirko chains. VR says the key is beating the Pats after the bye. This is a must win. That'd be so nice to get that W against the New England Patriots. It's been a long time. The last time the Jets won up in New England was the playoff game in the 2010 season, January of 2011. They haven't beaten the New England Patriots since week 16, 2015. It's been a very, 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 very long time. Sauce is going to put Cousins and Jefferson in hell. Let's go, Jets. I love it. Brian says, got to flex the Jets Vikings into prime time where Cousins is at his weakest. Oh, I didn't think of it from that perspective. I got to root for that game to get flexed into prime time now because Kirk Cousins at 1 o'clock versus Kirk Cousins at 8 o'clock. Big, big, big difference. Brian, thank you. Thank you. He says, guys, the anti-werewolf. The full moon exposes his true nature as a beauty, not a beast. That's so funny. That's great. Dave says, least favorite Pats player ever, Brady. Right now, honestly, it might be Mac. 1, because I wasn't a big fan of his pre-draft. And number 2, I think he's a little bit dirty. I think he's kind of a dirty player. So I'll say Mac. Great point on the Cousins primetime thing. That is absolutely something that I did not remember. Did not know. Completely forgot about. Well, I did know it. I completely forgot about that angle of Kirk Cousins being bad in primetime. In on that. All right, I think that's going to do it for me on this lovely, lovely Wednesday. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Once again, I am Matt O'Leary. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.